Hey everyone, welcome to Tathastu. I hope you all are doing good. Well, as you can see, this is Prime Minister Modi who has visited Indonesia, Jakarta. So today we are going to talk about India ASEAN Summit, the 20th summit which has been held in Indonesia, Jakarta. So we are going to talk about this and the important key takeaways from this particular summit. But after watching this video, I would request you to please go into the description box and watch the video which I've made on the international organizations. There's a complete playlist on our YouTube channel, and I covered this ASEAN organization comprehensively. We started how this particular organization came into existence, what were the dynamics of that particular time which led to the formation of this organization, how is India and ASEAN's interests are interrelated, and some significant questions have been answered, like is it because of ASEAN and organizations like BIMSTEC which led it to the fall of SARC? So that particular thing has been covered. That in that particular video we covered the subject comprehensively through mains perspective. So please go and watch that video also. The link would be in the description box. And in this particular video, we are going to talk about the key takeaways, and briefly we will touch upon the relationships and the evolution of India-ASEAN relationships. Okay, but okay, let's get started. But before that, here's a short update for you. Short information for you. There are 4 beautiful courses which have been designed by the Tathastu team. So number 1 is MSLV, Main Success Launch Vehicle. Admissions are open here. You will be taught how to write beautiful answers through multiple dimensions. Another one is PSLV, Prelim Success Launch Vehicle. It is going to get launched very soon, and through this particular course you will be able to understand the technicalities around the prelims, because it is said that prelims nowadays is becoming very uncertain, and to secure a rank in a UPSC for the first thing is you have to clear prelims. Okay, यही है सबसे ज़्यादा जो छटनी होती है. Okay, so you need to take care of this. Another than this, the base for everything NCRT module is also there. You can register here, and then a philosophy optional which will be held by Dr. Tanujan ma'am herself, and it is going to get started from 15th of September. Here are the contact details. You can visit the coaching institute also, and you can ask the team by contacting them directly. Okay, so let's get started with the news. And the news is Prime Minister Modi's trip to Jakarta, Indonesia, which occurred in response to an invitation from Joko Widodo, the president of Indonesia. He invited Mr. Modi, the prime minister of our country, to visit there, and obviously he visited there. Okay, that's why we're discussing this thing. So PM Modi participated in both 20th ASEAN-India Summit and 18th East Asia Summit, which were being organized by Indonesia as the current chair of ASEAN. Okay, so the chairmanship, the ASEAN chairmanship rotates between the 10 countries for every 2 years, and this ASEAN plus 6 members are East Asia Summit, and you join the 6 members also. Now, what are those 6 members? I covered this in that particular video. Here's a question for you also. Please name the 6 countries. I'll name few. India is one, Australia is one, Japan is one. Name 3 others. Okay. Notably, this ASEAN-India Summit marked first one following the enhancement of India-China relationship to comprehensive strategic partnership in 2022. So, few years back, a strategic partnership has signed between India and ASEAN, but now it has been elevated to comprehensive strategic partnership in 2022, and it has been seen that the India-China relationships could be taken to newer heights, to greater levels with these kind of summits and partnerships and with these kind of meetings. Okay, so let us briefly talk about the ASEAN. What is ASEAN and what led to its establishment and everything? So ASEAN was established on 8th August 1967 in Bangkok, Thailand. By the way, a watershed movement came into into India. When you'll be reading about modern history, you will touch upon this 8th August, and you will be very familiar to this. Gandhiji launched something which led to the removal of Britishers from India on this particular date. So what is it? Please write that into the comment section also. Okay. So on 8th August 1967 in Bangkok, Thailand, with the signing of ASEAN Declaration, also known as Bangkok Declaration. So in this date, this particular ASEAN has been found, and the founding members there were 5 founding members, and these 5 founding members were Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. So these were the initial members. As we have seen earlier also, that in other summits, in other meetings, particularly in other organizations, in other organizations also, initially these have been started by few countries, and then the other countries join the bandwagon, join the ship. So earlier, like for example, BRICS. So BRICS has been started with the 4 countries, BRIC. Then the South Africa joined it in 2011. Similarly, 5 other countries joined it, and in this summit we got to know that one other country, the 11th country, is going to join it. Okay, but we'll talk about that also. But what is the mission of ASEAN? So the motto that guides the ASEAN's mission is one vision, one identity, and one community. Okay, so this is the thing. This is the idea of ASEAN: one vision, one identity, one community. Now the ASEAN Secretariat is headquartered in Jakarta, Indonesia. So please be very much sure about it. This could be asked in your prelims examination. Now this is the ASEAN grouping, and it is important. So I'm gonna take the names of every country, and I would request you to don't skip this slide, because I could have also skipped it. I would have said please इसे देख लेना अपने आप, but I'm not going to do it, because हम सभी लोग ये सोचते हैं कि इसे हम बाद में कर लेंगे, but that बाद में never comes. Okay, so the names are Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Brunei, Philippines. I haven't taken any mnemonic here, because I don't think that's gonna work on each one of you, because हर किसी का दिमाग अपने हिसाब से काम करता है. तो you please take a mnemonic according to yourself. Try to make a mnemonic according to yourself, according to your understanding. That would stick with you for a longer period of time. But these are the 10 countries, and I haven't skipped it, so I request you to please learn it by heart. Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Brunei, Philippines. One another country is going to join it, and the capital is similar to India's capital. Okay, it sounds similar to India's capital. We'll talk about it. So ASEAN is a regional organization of 10 countries in Southeast Asia that aims to promote economic and security cooperation. Okay, so these were the things earlier also. When I was talking about that particular ASEAN lecture, which we covered in the International Organization series, so there also we talked about how in this particular time period, 1960s, the region in the ASEAN and the ASEAN countries were economically quite unstable, and there were security issues. One country was attacking another, there was a mistrust, there was distrust, and nobody was believing on the words of the head of the nation state of one country was not believing the other. So there was a kind of lack of confidence amongst the countries. So that security issues and those economic issues led to the meeting. The group has been asked to come forward and to solve the matter, and those 2 particular issues, economic and security issues, have been addressed, and this led to the formation of ASEAN. Okay, so the current members are now, for 5 countries have started it, as I've already named it. These are the 10 current members, so I'm not going to take the name 3 times. So Timor-Leste is an observer state. It was an observer state and has been accepted in principle as the 11th member, so it's a big thing. Okay, this is a very small country. I'm sure nobody has heard about it. While doing my preparation for so many years, I haven't heard about it. So if you have, congratulations, you are way ahead of than other people. So the ASEAN has a combined population of 662 million people. Okay, and a GDP of 3.2 trillions. The organization has an anthem, a different flag, a separate flag, and a biannual summits with a rotation of chairmanship. Okay, for 2 years every country gets this chairmanship. Now this is the country which I was talking about, East Timor, Timor-Leste, and here's the capital of that particular country, Delhi. As I said, yeah, Delhi. कैसे बोलेंगे इसे? I don't know, but it sounds similar to Delhi, और हिंदी में तो हम उसे दिल्ली ही बोलते हैं. So it is close to Indonesia, and this is the Timor Island, and this is the country. Let's talk about this particular country also. They might ask something in our prelims. So the capital is Delhi. The population is around 10,000, 10,000 lakh, 10 lakh, 13 lakh, 40,000. Okay, तो बहुत कम लोग यहाँ रहते हैं. Language है Portuguese. ठीक. And the currency is United States dollar, and the area is 15,000 square kilometers. Okay, so as you can see that many countries, many small countries, for their economic stability are dependent on United States dollar. In our de-dollarization videos, in our videos of rupees globalization, we talked about how in those videos we talked about the significance of the dollar and why some countries are still relying on dollar because it's a stable country, why other countries like China, like China's yen, Japan's yen and pound and India's rupee are trying to dethrone a dollar, and they want to make their own space. They want that yes, there was a territorial independence, but now they want their economic independence. And it will be said that if you're using someone other's country's dollars or some other country's currency, then you haven't gained your independence in true spirit. Okay, so every country is trying to gain that. El Salvador has done that by moving towards Bitcoin and stuff like that. Some other countries are doing to rely more on their currencies, while in Argentina the inflation is skyrocketing, and then they are coming back to dollar. That dollar is a safe haven. Well, I'm sorry I digressed, but this is a big thing. This is a big thing, and this is going to be a big thing for next 4, 5, 7. Actually, for next 10 years, you're going to hear about this de-dollarization, this key term for a longer period of time now. So that's why I just recapped everything. So here's the thing. Now the key outcomes about this particular summit. What are the key outcomes? So one of the key outcomes of the summit was the decision to establish the Indian embassy in Delhi. इससे होगा क्या? The India would be able to access the another country which is there. Okay. Which is the part of ASEAN, and India's Act East policy will get further boost. Okay. The summit also adopted 2 joint statements, one on maritime cooperation and one on food security. Now these are the 2 things. Maritime cooperation, Indo-Pacific, we have heard about this thing quite often. So one is this thing and another is food security. Now food security is a big issue. Yesterday only we talked about Black Sea grain deal and Black Sea. Okay, this is the first time I'm writing on this particular tab. Okay, so Black Sea grain deal, and we talked about how United Nations and few other international organizations are saying that this particular Black Sea Green Deal, and as it has been paused by Mr. Putin, so it could lead to food insecurities amongst various countries in Asia, Southeast Asia and Africa. So from that you can think about it कि this could be an issue which needs to be addressed in Africa and Southeast Asia and the parts of South Asia here. So these were the 2 important talking points. Now the joint statement on the marine cooperation emphasized the importance of cooperation between ASEAN and India in the areas such as safety, security of maritime areas, maritime domain awareness and disaster management. Okay, so these were the important things which have been talked about. I'm sorry. Now the joint statement on food security by ASEAN and India and broadly these 11 partners, India and the 10 countries of ASEAN, were the joint statement on food security and nutrition recognized the interconnectedness and the vulnerabilities of Indo-Pacific region in the face of regional and global challenges. What kind of global challenges? The Ukraine-Russia war is there. Okay? What kind of global challenges? The high the way inflation is soaring in so many different countries, and then there is a part of a world like China and few other countries like this, where because of debt and because of deleveraging, many countries are facing sort of deflationary scenario, and few economists have said that this decade is going to be, of next 4-5 years, is going to be an era of inflation in few countries and an era of deflation in few countries. Okay, so because of this, because of economy, everything revolves around the economy, so everything is going to move around that. In this context, it recognized the importance of joint effort and mutual support in the region and beyond to strengthen food security and nutrition. And to strengthen food security and to talk about nutrition, everyone is talking about millets. Okay, India is talking about millets. Many smaller countries and many countries where the food insecurity is there, everyone is talking about millets because it's a type of grain that is rich in nutrients, that has a climate resilience. It is a particular thing which is suitable to cultivators. It is a particular thing which is suitable for consumers because it is not going to be very much costly, and climate would not be able to harm it also because it is climate resilient and it has all the important nutrients and the micronutrients which are required in our food. Okay, so that is why, and it's not very much expensive also, that is why people are pushing for millets. Now, PM Prime Minister Modi reaffirmed ASEAN's centrality in Indo-Pacific. Now, Indo-Pacific is an idea which has been proposed by a document from the United States. A particular organization of United States proposed this idea. Earlier, it has been called by another name, but it has been said that by saying Indo-Pacific would be able to specifically target the area, would be able to specifically address the area which is a concern for many Asian countries and the United States of America also. Now, ASEAN is the central pillar of India's Act East policy. Earlier it was Look East policy, but to show our resilience and to show our commitment towards the Southeast Asian countries, we renamed it to the Act East policy. We are good at renaming, and we renamed it to Act East policy, and not only renamed it, actually we are pretty serious about our Southeast Asian neighbors. And we covered a video where we talked about how global south is there, global north, global south, and there's a band line, and the countries below it are called global south, and India is one of the countries who can lead the global south, and the African countries, the South Asian countries, Southeast Asian countries, all these countries are the part of global south. So to lead the global south, you have to engage with the global south, and Southeast Asian countries, the ASEAN members, are one of the most important members of that particular grouping. Okay. So Prime Minister Modi also highlighted the synergies between the India's Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative (IPO) and ASEAN's outlook on Indo-Pacific (AOIP). Okay, now what is IPOI? Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. It's a non-treaty based initiative. Okay, there's no particular treaty which has been signed. It's an initiative, and the aim of this initiative is to promote a free, open, and an inclusive order in Indo-Pacific region. Okay, and the reason for saying this particular statement, or for emphasizing on this particular statement, a free, open, and inclusive order, this is because of our China's mischievousness. Okay, so recently we covered this topic also, how China has launched its strategic map, and what it said regarding the Arunachal Pradesh, which is the part of China. The whole of Arunachal Pradesh, the 93 square kilometers, is the part of China, and they call it South Tibet. And a larger area of this Southeast Asian, the water bodies around the Southeast Asian nations, is the part of China. Okay, so to neutralize China in Indo-Pacific, US, India, and many Southeast Asian countries are coming and they're joining hands. Now, the initiative was launched by India in 2019. Okay, so this was the year when this initiative was launched, and this is it. These were the things which we talked about. What was the key note by the Prime Minister of India at Jakarta in India ASEAN Summit, and what are the key takeaways from it? That we are going to have our embassy there, that we talked about marine cooperation. Why? Because of the fear of China and the food security, and there are global issues, be it the calling of a Black Sea grain deal, be it the war between Russia and Ukraine, be it the inflation. So many things. Okay, and we all know that what has happened in India when the tomatoes soared to 250 to 260 rupees per kg. But now in Pakistan, if you see, this has been a situation for last couple of years, I guess. Okay, so not only tomatoes there, there are many vegetables, many fruits which are soaring high. The prices of that are soaring high, and not only in Pakistan, there are many other countries, and because of that, there is food insecurity. So, not only in Pakistan and other countries like that, but to help them, not specifically Pakistan, but many countries around that to help them and to be aware and to be prepared for any kind of situation. That's why India restricted the exports of many important vegetables out of India. Now, the evolution of India-ASEAN relationship, as I've said, that we'll touch upon this also. Although the link is in the description box, you can see there. You must go there and you must watch it. But I'll still, I still want to cover it, though the lecture has been of 20 minutes. But I'll briefly cover upon it. So in 1950s and 60s, in early 60s, during this period, India played a significant role in supporting the decolonization efforts of the Southeast Asian countries. Till 1950s and 60s, the countries in the Southeast Asian countries were under the dominance of various various colonies. So India supported them to get decolonized. In 60s and between 60s and 80s, India maintained some distance because of Cold War, because it has been said that ASEAN, which has been formed in the mid of the 60s, is a product of Cold War. So India stayed away, as India followed NAM, non-aligned policy, and it didn't want to get indulged into any Cold War-ian practices. Here, between 1990s to 110, now this was a period of 20 years when India adopted a look east policy. Well, we have to look at our east, at the eastern part also. Well, this is also important for the development of our northeastern states, Sikkim and the other 7 states. And in the light of what has happened in Manipur, it is furthermore important to look east, to act east, because when we analyze the topic, when we discuss the topic, we got to know that the main reason behind all these things happening, other than the 2 reasons, one was judicial reason, one was another reason, one was political reason, another reason was the unemployment and the people's dependence on opium and the trade of opium, and their employment, for a large section of people, their employment was dependent on the trade and the manufacturing and the production of opium. Okay, so you need to get employment there. That's the answer to many problems, and by engaging with the Southeast Asian countries, we can do that. Now, India adopted Look East policy, leading to a full dialogue partnership with ASEAN in 1995 and becoming a full member of ASEAN Regional Forum in 1996. Now, 2010 to present, India adopted. In 2012, there was a strategic partnership, as I've said. Now it has been elevated to comprehensive strategic partnership in 2022, and India adopted an Act East policy. Okay. Now, India's link. What is India's link with ASEAN? So India and Act East policy, ASEAN is central to India's Act East policy, which focuses on extended neighborhood in Asia Pacific region. Extended neighborhood, as I have said, that ASEAN, those 10 countries, now it's going to be 11 with the induction of another country whose capital is Delhi. So there are 6 more countries, which makes it East Asia Summit. Okay. So I've named the 3 countries. I asked you another 3. Please write it down in the comment section. Now, India among the dialogue partners. India is the part of ASEAN plus 6 grouping, which includes China, Japan, South Korea, New Zealand, and Australia. Okay, so these were the countries who are the part of it. Trade and investment in 2010, India ASEAN FTA goods were signed, and FTA in services were signed in 2014. So free trade agreement. This is FTA's free trade agreement. It has been signed in 2010 for the goods. There would be no double taxation and all those things. All those problems have been solved. It has been tried कि इन सारी problems को solve किया जाए, and in 2014 regarding services also the FTA has been signed. One other important thing regarding ASEAN, it is the 4th largest trading partner, India's 4th largest trading partner, and the total trade stood between $110 billion from 2021 to 2022. In this particular 1 year, the revenue is $1,000 होता है. $1 billion is equals to around 8,000 crore rupees. Okay, so please do the math. We Indians are good at doing it. Now, this India ASEAN Summit level partnership in 2000, what is this, 2002, the year 2022, okay, marked 30 years of, this is 2022, marked 30 years of ASEAN-India relationship, and it was designated as the friendship year. Okay, so please be just try to emphasize, I'm trying to emphasize it, please try to remember it, that the year of 2022, when 30 years have been completed of India ASEAN relationship, it has been called a friendship year. The ties were elevated to a strategic partnership, as I've said earlier, and India ASEANs have strengthened the defense cooperation by ASEAN Defense Ministers meeting, that is called ADMM plus. Now these were the important things regarding, just as I've said, that I will briefly touch upon it. It took me 4-5 minutes to talk about it, and then only I felt that the lecture would be considered covered. Other than this, we talked about the key outcomes in this particular summit. We broadly focused on this, how food security and maritime is important, and then this Timor-Leste and it's dependent on the United States of dollars, its dependence on the United States of dollars. And now we briefly also touched upon how de-dollarization and the rupees globalization is going to be a matter of discussion for next couple of years, or for next 5 to 6 years. Okay, now this was the map, and these were the important things. Now as I've said, please be very much aware of the things. As I've said, that this is going to be important. Myanmar, Vietnam, Laos, we as an aspirant tend to say that there are so many names, and we are going to remember it when the prelims will come. So try to remember it as soon as possible, and go watch that video which is in the description box if you have time. Okay, thank you very much. I'm done with the video. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll meet in the other class. Until then, take care. Bye bye, and please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Okay.